Hey everyone, I wanted to take a minute and share a post that I saw on Facebook and kind of dig into it, dive into it with some of the things that the original poster put and kind of my thoughts on it and what I've been seeing. So, in the post, the original poster is talking about how home values are going up so much. It's not a bubble, it's a canyon. And it's creating a gap between the haves and have-nots. And that this is largely driven by Wall Street investors purchasing a whole bunch of homes, and turning us into a nation of renters and not homeowners, which traditionally speaking, home ownership is one of the best ways to create wealth and generational wealth as well. So I think there's some amazing points to this. The person is incredibly passionate. There's a couple little things that, aren't, technically accurate, like, some of the companies are in fact private, or I'm sorry, public companies and not private. And there's tons of John Smith LLC real estate investors that are buying real estate with their funds or with private money or hard money loans or even conventional mortgages. Um, he makes some good funny points about the bags of money and crypto bros gone wild. Yeah, it's definitely not any of that. Um, Wall Street does know that the stock market is very much overinflated. One of my good friends trades stock. One of our partners at Carbon Capital is a financial advisor. So, I mean, with that, when the price of a stock and the earnings and the dividends and all that doesn't correlate, it does indicate that those stocks are overpriced. So, a lot of these fintech startups, Better would be a good example of one that's trying to do a SPAC and that just literally hemorrhages money. Um, they're really not worth anything compared to what they've been trading for. And everybody knows that on Wall Street. Wall Street also knows that we're headed towards a recession. And with the exception of the 2008 housing bubble created by the toxic subprime mortgage industry, which does not exist and has not existed since then, with the exception of that, during every other recession, values in homes continue to go up. So they know that 2008 was an outlier, and they know that coming into this recession, that values are going to continue to go up. So with the stock market being, overinflated, and with it being so risky and volatile, it's a lot safer for these hedge funds and Wall Street money to purchase real estate that's not going anywhere. Especially with the shortages in real estate that there is. So yeah, they'll pay top dollar. They'll pay over asking price. They'll do it with no contingencies, not inspecting the house properly. They will do those things because they're in this for the long term. It's not a short term investment for them. So when they're purchasing these properties and then turning them into rentals and renting them out for people, I mean, it's almost all profit. My father has a lot of rental properties, and he only has maybe one mortgage on any of them, and what he positive cash flows is incredibly impressive. And what that portfolio is worth today compared to 15 years ago or 10 years ago, is night and day difference as well. So there's definitely a known value, a known return on investment with real estate, and it's just so much of a safer investment. So they don't really care if they are paying a little bit more for the home because they have so much of a control on the market right now, and they know that the values are going to continue to go up. And I don't think that we're going to see Open Door and some of these other ones, some of these ones that are pretending to be rent to own, like Divvy. Let's just be real about it. Who's actually seen someone purchase a home after Divvy bought it for them, in their name and rented it back to them? So you look at that, these are all these companies that are creating these massive portfolios of rental homes. I'm sure you've seen, on the news about, companies that are building entire subdivisions of single family detached homes, and they're all rentals. They're not selling them. They're all rentals. Controlling real estate is huge. If Wall Street controls real estate, the gap between the haves and the have-nots is going to continue to just grow and get more and more and more. So, you definitely don't want to fall into that trap. Yes, interest rates are higher now than they were the past 2 years when they were the lowest that they've ever been in the history of mankind. Yes, they're the highest that they've been since 2007. Of course, they're nowhere near what they were in the 80s or 90s. And I mean, the difference between a 3.5% interest rate and a 5.5% interest rate, yes, there is a difference. But when you do a fixed rate mortgage, which people should be doing fixed rate mortgages, you don't have to worry about your principal and interest going up. Taxes, insurance, obviously those can change year to year, but you're controlling that, and you're not having to worry about Wall Street saying, you know what, we want more money, and we control so much of the real estate that you really don't have a choice. So if you are living in a place to where you think that there's a bubble, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a home buyer and you think that prices are going to drop, you're wrong. They're not. So, I mean, you can live in a place of fear, and you can let Wall Street win and let them control, your future, control where you live and what you're paying, or you can take control of that and try to buy as soon as you possibly can whenever you find something that works for you, because it's not going to be cheaper than it is today. So I think overall, this is just a great post. Person was very, very passionate about it. There were definitely a few things that were minor just inaccuracies, but I mean, the overall theme of it and the tone and everything and the observation that this individual made is spot on. So hopefully people that are selling homes will stop trying to take and get that bag of money from Wall Street, and hopefully some of them will think and say, you know what, do I want to sell this house to Wall Street, or do I want to sell this house to a family that's going to live here? So but I mean, if anything that history has taught us over forever, the history of mankind, is humans are very greedy. So very rarely do people look out for anyone other than themselves. So wouldn't count on people all of a sudden stopping to sell their homes to Wall Street, but it's short-sighted because they sell it to Wall Street for more and then think that they're going to rent and wait for prices to drop, and unfortunately that's not going to happen. So I'm always here to answer questions. Obviously, I love mortgages, love real estate. Always down to have a good conversation. So have an amazing day.